and you are watching PNX News.
Awesome. This is Bill Board with PNX News, and I'm here in Los Angeles, California, with the latest incarnation of the Subtitles, possibly the best one yet. Guaranteed GMO and Eddie Free. And I'd like to start by having the band introduce themselves by name. So, first of all, we will start with the bass player.
D.A. Valdez.
Mike Patton.
I'm Matt Simon, and I play lead guitar, and I also sing in the group. And I'm a close personal friend of Mike Patton's, and this is my other good friend,
Brett Hansen.
Brett Hansen.
Very good, gentlemen.
We've known each other for many years, but really getting to know each other a little bit too well at this point now. So go ahead and ask your first question.
The tension is already starting to develop.
Shut up. I've had enough of your foolishness.
My lip.
Anyways, so we're here for the interview for PNX News, and we want to explain to the people what it is that we're trying to do here, right?
But we can't really capture it in words.
It's like kind of...
But you're doing it well.
So...
We're filling time. The Subtitles is about filling time. 45 minutes of time.
Now, Eddie is no longer with us.
He's not
in the
filling
group.
any time.
We asked him. We said, Eddie, could you please come down and help us out? He's living in
Lead
Reno.
us
He's
again.
living in I think it was Unit 547 of some hotel in Reno.
The
And
Reno
you know, which is
Arms.
fine, but he was unable to come down and join us. So we said, "Hey, fuck you. We're going to do it ourselves." And so this is this is the result. And Mike Patton and I have been we were in middle class together for many years. Also,
Personal
just
friends
apart
of
for
the
many
Addas.
years and then together.
Personal friends. Went to high school with the Addas, which is my claim to fame.
Yeah. Really, my claim to fame is just knowing Mike Patton.
Well, Matt's claim to fame is knowing me.
And it's my life has changed for the better. Yeah, but on a more serious note, the Subtitles were a punk rock band from Fullerton. Eddie Joseph was sort of a Svengali. Thank you. He was a guy that kind of like pulled the strings, I think, for a lot, or at least he imagined he did.
He had about a year and a half. He had gotten this inheritance.
Thank you.
For a year and a half, he supplied the Fullerton scene with everything, with money,
drugs,
with equipment,
beer,
with a place to rehearse, with transportation, with drugs, and so he was the center of the Fullerton Punk.
Envisioning himself as the Fullerton puppet master, so to speak.
It was the Eddie Empire.
Yeah.
It was deemed the Eddie Empire, and it really was for a brief time where he was involved with every band that was notable.
And we played straight
He managed
punk.
middle class. I mean, it was all of what was going on in Orange County, and I think TSOL and Agent Orange kinda, but Mike Palm says he never really talked to Eddie. So, but as far as we knew, Eddie was doing everything, and then his inheritance ran out. Subtitles broke up. He released a couple of albums and then disappeared. You know.
Long story short. But what he really did was he introduced a lot of acid into the punk rock scene, LSD, in Orange County, which changed a lot of the vibe of what was going on down there. I do remember Mike Ness telling me one night, I like fighting on acid. He said, I like fighting people on acid because it, gave him a sense of, empowerment, I think.
Did that when punk went psychedelic or something?
I don't think it really went psychedelic, but we all took a lot of
that
acid.
straight
and just
edge thing, the hardcore thing was like totally happening. We were going psychedelic.
Yeah,
Punk was staying whatever the hardcore thing
and that's why that song "American Society"
Everybody
is
wearing
slow
kilts
and heavy. There is a fast version that it's very.
American Society was a fast, generic punk rock song, not very interesting. We turned it on its head, slowed it way down. I sang it. We produced it in a kind of a trippy way, and it resonated with people because it's way more powerful when you're doing it seriously and slow with all this energy.
You can deliver it with punctuation.
And it had a lyric that's kind of resonating.
It sounded
I
really
don't
meaningful.
want to listen. I don't want to watch television. I don't want to. It's like that I kept hearing that thing when I got into punk. I don't wanna watch television. I don't wanna listen to the radio. I don't wanna get up.
You're not the boss of me.
I don't want to do anything.
Very mature.
You know,
Very
it
mature
was
punk.
so it's really
Oh,
fun
sure,
to sing it.
tear it
I
all down,
don't
but what are you going to replace it with?
I don't want to do it. I just want to. But they never said. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to drown. You know, in American society, it's a pretty good lyric, I thought.
Well, and Eddie meant it because he had a very a really nice jaundiced view of humanity, and we got along really good because Eddie was really funny. He had a really clear eye on the just kind of horrible nature of reality and most people's lives in it, and so we got along really good. So he got punk rock. He wasn't really a punk until we met him, and but then he just adopted it. He really wanted to be in the scene. He really
Dove in head first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of slowing things down, I noticed that you guys do a very fine version of Nervous Breakdown, and it's a little bit slowed down, and I think it's kind of cool. How'd you come up with that?
Well,
whose idea was it?
It was Matt and me jamming at doing these heavy jam sessions. Matt and I were doing it, and so we did songs and we slowed it down and did it really heavy and trippy, and we're capturing that in the subtitles. And what the subtitles, when it was the most fun, the subtitles went from playing Eddie's songs to jamming and doing instrumentals and all this goofy stuff, anything we wanted to do, and for some reason the punks let us do it in front of them, and that was such a liberating, fucking cool time, and that's what we're trying to recapture. That moment when the subtitles were really, innovative in a sloppy, stupid way. It was really it was a cool atmosphere, and we're capturing that.
Well, and truth be told, we're all it's 30 years later, so.
Yeah, and the
trying to recreate.
It originated with artists and people being outside the box, so it was a natural progression, or at least going back to the roots, right? Of just taking over that punk rock thing and turning it back to where it was starting.
It did. It actually started with a small creative group of people and just kind of spilled out to the masses and kind of changed in maybe one direction. It sounds like this was pulling it back in the original direction. That's kind of what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. Punk was Devo. Punk was the Plugs. Punk was, anyone getting up there and just...
A lot more Dada.
Themselves, yeah.
Well,
so this is...
we are. I think we proved that, we proved that we can, anybody can do it, That's the great thing about that style of music. Punk rock music, anybody can do it. You don't have to be a trained musician. You don't have to go to school. All you have to do is just give a shit, feel it a little bit, and get up there and try,
Well, and
doesn't take much.
Matt and I were getting together. We were jamming once a week, and then we weren't jamming once a week, and then other things were getting in the way, and it became kind of clear. And Matt kind of was the one that said, "Well, we better do
something.
We better do a band, or else we're going to stop playing." So, and we didn't want to stop hanging out. Mike was dead, and the middle class was not happening anymore. We wanted to keep it going, so we decided, okay, then let's do a band. Got a hold of Dave and Brett, and so now, there's a purpose because we got a show, and so you got to rehearse, and you're playing the show, and and it keeps it going. We're playing.
And they're mighty enjoyable shows. And also, I noticed you guys have a little merch. I happen to pick up this little piece of plastic here that I'm going to go home and put on the turntable.
Yeah.
Well, what else you got for sale?
T-shirts and CDs, and really that's about it. We're not really a commercial. We're just trying to have a good time and kind of just have fun with people and do something that's a little bit different.
But if somebody wanted to pick up some of this merchandise, do you have like a website or?
Well, I think most of the stuff is going through our Facebook. You know, if you
Yeah,
just
we don't have a website other than
just type
Facebook.
in
Go to
the
Facebook,
subtitles.
the subtitles, and you can communicate with us.
We were going to be Iron Lung, and then I typed that in, and I found that was some sort of death metal band from Reno, and I'm like, well.
Because when
Reno, is Eddie leading that band in Reno? Or?
No. Iron Lung was the. Iron Lung was, well, I don't know.
Fuck you,
Long story
Eddie.
short, fuck you.
Fuck you, Eddie.
But long story short, Iron Lung was kind of like the Eddie and the Subtitles band within a band thing, and so that was
that
what,
was the acid
that was
jam.
the acid
that was the
band.
acid jam.
And we did a
band.
couple shows with the Adolescents where we just like took a bunch
At
of
La Vida,
acid and
played
we
once at La Vida.
just like made a bunch of noise. It was easier to get away with shit back then. Nobody really.
It was always amazing that people would let us do.
I
that.
never. Yeah.
to them.
The amazing thing is to walk across the dance floor of the Fleetwood and not get hit in the face. That was my happiest moment. You know, it's just like, hey, I'm in a band. I'm not getting beaten up.
Yeah, all these
That's
tough
good.
guys are like not bothering me.
They're like, oh, you're in a band. I won't hit you.
Any other
Yeah.
time they would be like.
Anyway, so long story short, Eddie. I like saying that. Long story short,
Not very short.
I have nothing. Let me just stretch the story out a little bit. Short story long. Eddie was from Syria, right?
Was he?
Yeah, he was Syrian. Yeah. His family was royalty. That's what they say. That's what he said. He also told me that he was a acid tester for Owsley in San Francisco. Eddie went to Haight-Ashbury. He's a little bit older than us, right? So he went to Haight-Ashbury about 67 and hooked up with Owsley, and he was testing, according to him, testing the acid for Owsley. You know, are you familiar with Stanley?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and so we always just went, oh yeah, Eddie, come on. But there was a little chunk of truth in that, and I was always like, wow.
Well, he said he hung out with Jefferson Airplane
Yeah,
and
and I was like-
Quicksilver Messenger Service,
Hey,
so he was like a hippie, at the end of the '60s up in San Francisco. That's what he used to talk about.
Right. And so that was kind of where his, grounding in music was sort of from. So he was just fucking with us. He kind of gathered us in. But Mike Patton really, turned him on his head. I think in a lot of ways, and educated him a lot about.
I brought him into the scene.
Yeah.
I definitely
Introduced
did.
him to Darby and all those
he let
people.
me do whatever I wanted to do, and
Yeah.
I brought him in. So I gave him credibility, and he let me do whatever I wanted to do. It was
So he's
good.
well missed and
Good.
stuff, and I miss Max Ferguson, who was also in the band in the early days, a great guitar player, and another great compadre of Eddie, a great guy. Max Ferguson, I want to get that out there.
I did this interview with Max because I'm working on the Orange County story. So I did this interview with Max. He sent these answers. It's hilarious. Him talking about Eddie is hilarious.
He said,
Very funny.
stabbing distance. I talked a lot about stabbing distance.
So what's this interview?
Oh, well, I got it in my head that I'm going to tell the Orange County story from my perspective. So, from middle class and then,
So there will be a book,
Fullerton. And,
eventually.
So I'm interviewing all the players and so.
Mike's got a good story to tell because, Eddie he managed Adolescents, TSOL, China White, and so on, and the Minutemen. And then when the money ran out, Mike Patton stepped in, and he was running the Eddie Empire for a while. So
We need to.
we got to get
Well, we better wrap it up.
short. He's the guy, and God bless Mike Patton.
This has been Bill Board reporting the news like I actually believe it.
Hi, you're watching this right here. I'm Tony,
And I'm Jordan from We Got Power.
and I'm from the
Yeah, he's the other dude. He knows Casey.
this. I know Casey.
Scary action breakdown.